Leaf flap.
My name is Lionel Sanders. I'm a professional triathlete. Half a mile from the start of the Oceanside 70.3. It's a fun race. It's a really cool place. It's kind of like the birthplace of triathlon, San Diego. So it's always fun to come back here and test yourself early on in the season and see where everyone's at. Nutrition has been a struggle for me, I would say, for most of my career. Fluid intake, fluid quantity, what's in the fluids, so electrolytes, and then of course the energy that you need, which is carbohydrates, and then of course what you need to recover, which is all of the macros, but protein being a huge one. So all of those have been problems for me for most of my career that I've at times maybe hyperanalyzed and at other times being perhaps a little too relaxed about. I'm certainly not a youngster anymore and I don't have a lot of time to waste. What am I after now? I'm after peak performance. I can't be using races as testing grounds for things, so I need to learn the lessons I need to learn to perform at a peak level before I get to the race. The beauty of the feed is that they have everything that I need to do that. They have basically all of the electrolyte supplement companies on there. They have all of the different carbohydrate sources that I could use. They also have all the different recovery things that I could use. A big one now that I've definitely realized that I had been lacking in is protein intake. I've landed on Momentous. I really like Momentous. Now that I have my protein intake up to where it should be, about 150 grams a day, I'm actually gaining weight. I'm gaining muscle again. I was heavier when I was doing my best. I was about 165 pounds and I was a little bit, it was all muscle, it was 5 pounds more muscle. In order to have a peak performance, you need to amass weeks and weeks and months of excellent training. And the only way to do that is to hydrate properly, replenish the electrolytes properly, take enough carbohydrates during and after training, and get your macros right during the recovery period so that your body can rebuild itself. In the 70.3, I think the limiter is, as long as it's not crazy hot, which I've never really done a 70.3 that was crazy hot. So the limiter is basically absorption of the gut. And that's something certainly trainable. And, you know, with certainty, I can do 100 grams of carbohydrates per hour. You've got guys messing around now with higher levels than that, 120, 130. I've even heard of some people doing 150 grams an hour. But for me, the course record here is 3 hours 45. My best time here is 3 hours 45 and 33 seconds, something like that. The actual hydration standpoint is not hugely important because you'll be, even if you sweat at, let's say 3 liters an hour, at 3.5 hours, you'll be down 10 liters or something. And let's say you replace 2 of them during the race. You have enough onboard capacity. For me, I don't have to worry about that much. So it's all just comes down to carbs. You have to play it a little bit by ear while you're out there. The nice part about it being not super hot is that your stomach, very little blood flow is being used to cool yourself, and thus your absorption capacity is high in the stomach. So I will be at least 100 grams an hour. I will do probably 40 grams of Morton 160 before the swim start. And then I will do at least 100. I'll have the capacity to go up to probably 120 grams per hour on the bike, and the bike will take a little over 2 hours. And on the run, I will basically have a Morton in my hand the entire run, and I will aim to eat the gel by 4K, and then again by 8K, and then again by 12, and then be finishing my final gel, let's say by 18K. And then, you know, then the race is pretty well over. You only have 10 minutes left of running, hopefully. And then for the most part, just water to, you know, somewhat dilute what's in your stomach and make it a little bit more digestible. But otherwise, the 70.3, I would say, is pretty easy from a nutritional standpoint. If this was an Ironman, this would be an entirely different conversation. One thing that I've certainly grown to appreciate now is the level of dedication of these guys to this craft. This is not going to last forever. I'm not always going to be able to compete at the top of a sport. Well, a few more years at best, I'll have at that. And so I think the big thing that I even am appreciating is the level of dedication and commitment that these guys who are excelling at this sport are putting in. I use Sam as an example because I've had good battles with him, and he came up after me, and he's probably the best bike runner or very close to the best bike runner in the world. And his level of dedication, now that I've been like living near him and observing him, is extreme, but that's what it takes.
I cannot lie on this. I paid a lot for this. They got some money to spend. I got some money to get.
You know, I've been committed, but I don't think to the level that I could be, certainly not to the level of some of the top guys in our sport right now. And so I've tried to change my perspective. I've had to, had a conversation with Aaron about this, have a conversation with the whole team, that I'd like to have at least given it my all, like truly be at my limit mentally and physically for a couple seasons in preparations, and not do too many races, and not string myself thin, and do everything right nutritionally, do everything to the best of my ability. And if my time is done, then it's done, no problem. But at least I gave it my all, and if I fail, then it's all good. But I don't want to be, saying, okay, that's it for triathlon, and having not really dedicated myself to the absolute limit of my capacity. This is the beginning of that. I mean, 13 weeks is nothing in training standpoint. My A race for the year is certainly Kona. It's at the end of October. I've done Kona, I think 6 times, and I've finished second there once, and I led for a long time. And so once you've done that, there's only one thing that's going to satiate you, and it is to win it. And I am looking at Kona this year as my Olympics. I would like to, as an experience in my career, to have given it my everything in preparation and said that's my only goal, to have at least said I've done it before. I've had an Olympic type experience. Think of how many guys give their entire 4 years to the Olympics and only one guy gets to win. What an experience, what pressure, what nervousness you must have that morning of the race to have built for that for 4, 8, some guys maybe even 12 years towards that moment. And I would like to experience that. I would like to have devoted my entire season to preparation for one singular day and roll the dice when the day comes around, and how it happens is how it happens. And if I win, I win, and if I don't, I don't, but at least I've experienced what it feels like to put all the eggs in the Kona basket. The feed is one of the best partners I've ever had. It's such a great place. Like, there's just everything you need. I mean, what's the one thing we all do every single day, multiple times per day? We all eat. As an athlete, I mean, eating is probably like the number one thing, truly. Like, other than training, you're training really, really hard, and you're training a lot, because that's what it takes to be a professional. That's what it takes to be one of the best in the world. The next most important thing is the fueling, the nutrition. And so to have the capacity to basically use and try anything and everything I want and have it shipped to my house usually in 2 days is really cool. There's been multiple times where I've found out about a particular, like UCAN, for instance, and I was like, oh, I want to try that. And 2 days later, I was using it in practice. And then also from a recovery standpoint, that's been very transformative. I think when I was younger, I was probably able to get away with not prioritizing post-workout recovery, but I cannot do that anymore. You do have to evolve as you get older and keep on top of it if you want to have longevity and want to continue to perform. And that's another thing that I hadn't been doing that now I have the capacity to do through the help of the feed. It's been a really, really great partnership so far.